So here's Maddox, and now that it's spooky season, I'm gonna go ahead and make a costume. And it's gonna be Alucard from Castlevania. I start off with making a pattern out of paper. Here I'm thinking about what I'm even gonna do. I started thinking about how I'm going to fold this and actually get it into the pattern that I need. I'm not the best when it comes to this, so I start taking a look at my own clothes and basically looking and seeing where the seam lines are. Then I had a good idea. Get Maddox's jacket and start measuring that out. Then I eventually make my cuts. Right here is where I really messed up. I really wish that I gave it more seam allowance where the chest is. If you look, you'll see that it's pretty shallow right there where the shoulder line is and the arms go through. I take Maddox with my mock-up and then I start kind of measuring. For the most part, all of this was just eyeball. And then I eventually come up with a pattern like this. Kind of works, I'm not too confident about it, but it is what it is. I get a little bit more of an insight by just looking at his jacket here. First I draw out the lines on the material, and then I start making my cuts. Once I get everything cut and put together, I pin it and then I start sewing. Always make sure that you press and clap any seam that you have. It just makes it look so much better. Much better. And this is what I got so far. It's starting to take shape, but again, I really wish I put more of an inseam or more of a seam allowance on that edge there. I don't do much for a liner. I kind of just put a little bit on there and then, just in case you see it. And then eventually I made the collar, and it was just a little too short. So, unfortunately, I had to make a new one, and it was much bigger. And then I cut out some strips for the edges to make it look a little bit more accurate. I started using the sticky tape here. This is much easier to get them on there properly than pinning everything and sewing. You know, with this tiny clothing like this, it's a little difficult. As you can see, it doesn't look too bad. And at this point, it was getting really late. I got really hungry and I didn't eat all day, so I eventually got some food.
I love you, everything, Burrito.
I added some framing and worked on the sleeves here. I am off to Joann's and potentially Michael's to go get some EVA foam and honestly even Hobby Lobby really, but to go get some EVA foam and some sticky tape. Alright, turns out Michael's had everything I needed. So, get back to it then. Some EVA foam to make the sword and 2 double-sided tapes. Alright, it's a new day. I still have a lot to do. I gotta do the sword, I have to do the cloak and the vest, and I gotta finish up the arms on this. Here's the arms. Gotta finish these up, gotta give Maddox a little bit more movement. And then after this, I'm gonna do the vest. Then I'm gonna do the cloak, which should only take me a few minutes to be honest. And then I gotta do the sword, which I need to paint that, and that might take a little bit of extra time. I really want to get this all done today, and then of course potentially record a video, try to get the same angles in the shot on the episode of Castlevania Nocturne, and then go ahead and post it. So here we go. One of the first things that I worked on the second day were finishing up the sleeves. I eventually measured Maddox and made sure everything fit, and it came out pretty okay. Hey, Rushy. Good boy. One arm. All right, let me do the next one.
Master has presented Dobby with clothes.
He's such a good boy, Maddox. Hey, Maddox. Let's go. Good girl. No, see, that's why I didn't want you up here. Drop it. Drop it. And then with all the distractions out of the way, I continued with the jacket. Come on. You lemon. Look at that. Good boy. Finally, that is almost done. I just have to do a little bit of the trim on the sides and of course put the little buttons, you know, the fake buttons along the jacket, but I think this came out pretty good. It's not my best sewing job, for sure it's not. Like, especially around these shoulders, oof. These are pretty bad. But overall though, this is pretty good. It'll fit him. It's a little tight on the shoulders, but he's not really gonna be walking anywhere anyway. As I was saying, I didn't do much of an inseam or lining on this one, to be honest. I just did kind of these little sides here. Just so if you see this area, you won't see just black. But again, like I said, I'm gonna do the vest with the stretchy material, which I wish I did for that jacket, to be honest, because, ooh, that's shaky. Wish I did for the jacket, to be honest, because that, you know, it would stretch with Maddox because it is very tight on him. But I have to do, like I said, I have to do the vest. Then I have to go ahead and do the cloak. The vest won't have a lining. It's gonna make it a lot easier. The stretchy material is gonna look fun anyway. You're not gonna see underneath it. But I will do a lining for the cloak. So I have to get back to that now. I almost did not catch it, but I had these completely backwards and I flipped them, so that was close. Whew. It's hard to see, but it kind of tore it up. I'll go ahead and try and clean this out. Pull these threads. When it came to the edges, I just put sticky tape and then folded over the edges and then made the buttons out of the same material. This didn't take too long, but there were a little bit of details here and there that were pretty all right. Kodo, you gotta go potty? Come on, big boy. And then the last thing that I worked on here would be the cloak. This wasn't too difficult. Basically just cutting a large half circle using both materials and then sewing them together. This was one of the longest things that I've sewed continuously. Here we go, moment of truth. And then I went ahead and put on the collar on this one as well. Alright, and there is one cloak. Then I added the chain to the cloak, which you can see in the images in the beginning. It's a chain that holds the two ends together in Alucard's cloak. Alright, so now I'm basically just putting these on. Using this lace that I got. I have to put them along this whole area here to make them look like buttonholes. But it's getting late and I am getting kind of tired of doing this right now. I'm almost done. After this, I'm pretty much done. Just gotta do the sword. And then off camera, I actually did the sword. I recorded it, but I just didn't really care to put that in the video because personally, I'm not the biggest fan of how it came out, but it worked. And you'll see in the end of the video. Finally finished. And I tested on him, but he mostly just leans over when he wears it, so the video is just going to be a mock-up of the scene from the end of Castlevania Nocturne.
But you probably won't listen to me anyway, will you?
I am Alucard, son of Dracula. And if you fight me, you will die, like thousands of vampires before you.
Are you really Alucard? I thought you were just a myth.
You must be Richter Belmont, complete with whip. And on the brink of utter defeat. I hope I'm not too late.